Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here today to talk about time management and how to make it all work. Because most people that follow me understand I have a lot of irons in the fire and often ask me, how do I do it? Now, this isn't the first video I've done on this topic. I actually have 2 others out there. But over the years, things are always changing and I have to learn how to redo things and rework my schedule in order to fit everything in that needs to get done. And one of the things that's really important is you have to learn when to say no. Because if you're the kind of person that likes to do a lot of projects and likes to help people out and donate time and so on, whether it be to your church or other types of groups, what happens is people see you and they say, oh, there's a good person that can do that. And without even considering all the many other things you may have on your plate, they're going to come ask you. They might not be trying to be inconsiderate or rude. They just have this idea and think, oh, maybe this person can do this because they're creative and they like to do this and they like to do that. And so they just come to ask. And if they're good, decent people, they will understand if you say no. Don't take something on just because you feel like you have to do it or you feel guilted into do it, and certainly never allow anyone to try to guilt you into doing it. I have people that do that to me all the time. Let's say this, for example. For the past few years, I've had a lot of people asking me if I would write a book. And while I understand the questions when people are just like, will you ever write a book? I would love to buy a book from you. And I appreciate that. I don't feel like they're trying to push me into it. It's when people come in and say, please write a book. That one just, whenever somebody does that, I just feel this added weight put on my shoulders. I don't mind typing a few things up here and there. And I have been making it a point to, as time allows, to start actually typing out some recipes, taking some thoughtful time to think about what do I put in there and so on, and typing out the recipes for those who need it in a hard copy or written form. But really, that was never what my channel was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be showing people and explaining to people how I do things and why I do things the way I do, but also helping them to understand that they can do it however they want. These are just how I do it. That's why I rarely have any written recipes out there. So, but I am trying to take that extra step just as an added service. But I'm not gonna write a book, at least not at this time in my life. Things may change down the road and I might have if the Lord leads me in that direction, it'll happen, but that's not where I'm at right now. So I've had to learn how to say no. I've done the same thing with certain items on my store. When we first opened up our Etsy store, we had very few items. I mostly just started off selling my soaps and my lip balms and my skin creams, and I think that was it. And a few crocheted items. Then people wanted me to start putting my skirts on the store and my aprons, and I started doing that for a while, but they never stay in stock because they sell out just about as soon as I can put them up there. But I was able to keep doing that, to keep putting out the skirts and aprons and always try to get something up on the store every week, at least 1 skirt a week, sometimes as many as 5 or 6. That was rare, but sometimes I could do it as time allowed. But as my channel has grown, especially in the past year to 2 years, it has really finally taken off. It has required more time for me to manage YouTube alone. And it's not just about the videos. I'm still putting out the same amount of videos and still putting the same amount of time into recording and editing and uploading and adding links and so on and so forth. But where it's taking more time now is a lot more people coming in and asking questions, giving me ideas of videos I can do, and that's fine. And I like the interaction, and that, to me, that's a part of managing my YouTube. It's getting in there and interacting with people and answering the questions as I see them come in. But I do have certain times of the day set aside just for that. Just like I have certain days of the week and times of those days where I do something like I'm doing right now, where I'm shooting videos. And usually the days I'm shooting videos are not the same days that I'm editing videos. When I first started my channel, things were very, very different. And I was actually able to shoot, edit, and put up a video in the same day. But that was when I had a very simple movie editor. I was doing everything very, very basic, very simple. And over time, as things grew and I was able to feel like I could afford to put money into better equipment and getting a good editor where I could add more effects and just make a video nicer in general, then more time started going into that. Well, then as we started making more products to go up on the store, even if it's stuff that Patrick does, that actually does put more work on me. But with that, I had to stop selling some of my other products so that we could focus more time into other things while still keeping the channel going with the same amount of videos every week. So thus I had to start saying no to the soaps. No more soaps going up on my store. And that was over a year ago that I quit doing that. I still get people asking me about that. And just so you know, that's why I'm not doing the soaps anymore. Something had to go for me to free up more time for other things. And then came the grandbaby, and I'm watching him 3 days a week, and he's getting busier all the time and requiring more of my time just to keep an eye on him. Thus, I'm cutting out more stuff from my store, and I'm still not getting back into the skirt making, at least at the time that I'm shooting this video. I do still plan on doing it, but it's not going to be a priority, and I'm sorry to say, I know people are really wanting those skirts. It's just not having the time to put into them like I once did a couple years ago. So even though I want to do that again, I am still working on balancing things out and learning what to say no to. So another thing that I'm phasing out of the store is the lip balms, because to me, they're not worth the time and the hassle. And the crocheted items come and go. It depends on the time of the year. That's the thing, is you have to learn that sometimes there's things you're going to have to take a step back and say, is it worth it for me to keep doing this when this might be a better choice for me right here to focus on? And then learn to say no. Yes, you will disappoint some people. You just have to learn to let it go. That's always been the hardest thing for me, is always worried about disappointing people. So when people first started asking about the book, I could kind of see maybe possibly doing it at the time. And I didn't want to disappoint people, so it was more like maybe someday. But now I'm just like, I don't even know if that'll ever happen. I don't see it. The only way I see it happening is if I retire from YouTube altogether, or something major will have to go away. For me to be able to not just make the time to do it, but not feel so stressed out with feeling like there's so much responsibility on my shoulders, because this is incredibly important. And I go through those phases where I start to feel my shoulders start to tighten up. I have a hard time sleeping. My jaw starts to hurt. This is caused from stress when I feel pulled in 1,000 different directions. And then I have to take a step back and say, no, no, no to this, that, and the other thing. Because right now, my grandbaby is more important than me writing this book. And me keeping my YouTube going is something I really like to do. And it's worked really well for us. So I want to keep my focus on that. I don't want to pour it into writing a book. Again, I'm just using myself as an example, partly because people ask me how I do it, but also because I want you to take these little tips, these little ideas, and look at your own life and figure out how can you make this work. Now, as far as starting new projects, like say you want to get into canning or dehydrating or crocheting or sewing or knitting or gardening or whatever it is that you haven't started doing yet, it's really important to not feel like, and especially if you're one of those that has just now kind of understood the importance of being more self-sufficient, you can feel very pressured to want to try to take all of it on and do all of it right now. You're going to start a big, massive garden. You're going to can everything, dry, dehydrate everything, freeze dry everything, sew everything, crochet everything, whatever it is. You're feeling the need to do all that. Take a step back and breathe, and then start in bite-sized pieces at a time. When I first started expanding my garden, because we always have had something going, whether it just be a few tomato plants or something like that. It was usually just a one crop kind of thing, nothing really major. But then when I saw the importance some time back of really starting to up our game, I felt the need to put in to try to fill every available space I could with garden. And I went ahead and did everything I could. But when it came time to harvest and even thinking of saving seeds, obviously I harvested what I could, but to think of saving seeds at that time, no, I had to say no because I didn't even want to try to figure that out. I didn't want that added stress. I just wanted to put up the food that I had coming in. Wanted to start there. So don't feel you have to do it all. Even if all you do is just start by growing some potatoes, it's still a step in the right direction. And then maybe some lettuces. These are things that are pretty simple for most people to grow. And herbs especially. When you're looking at perennial herbs, most perennial herbs are pretty easy to grow. Not all of them are easy to start from seed. It might be easiest to go get a start either from someone or from your local nursery. But once you have it established, you'll just keep coming back and it's easy. And you don't have to worry so much about that kind of stuff. So take everything in bite-sized pieces and don't let yourself get stressed out and panicked, feeling you have to do it all right now. It's not healthy for you to do that because it really takes a toll on your health. Learning how to take that day of rest and have that downtime. I mean, a lot of times I'll sit and crochet. That might be work, but to me, a lot of times if I'm not feeling pressured to do it, crocheting to me is a relaxing thing that can just make me feel a lot more calm. But if it makes me feel stressed out, I put it aside and I don't do it. And I've had those days where it's like, man, my shoulder, I'm working on these gloves, trying to get them up for the store, and I feel my shoulders tightening up and my jaw starting to hurt. And it's because I feel like I got to hurry and get it done. And when I realize I'm doing that, I just have to put it aside. If that means that I sell out of a product on the store before I can get back to it, it's just going to have to happen because my health has to come first. And so does yours. And then the other thing is, like I said, things have changed over the past several years. So we also have to learn how to be flexible as new things happen there, because there's, especially in this past couple of years, we've seen a lot of big changes going on out there in the world, which has caused a lot of people to have to make some really big changes at the way they do things. So you have to learn to be flexible. You just have to. Here we go again. Let's take a step back. Now, how can I remanage my time to make this fit in there? So now I'm going to come back to an example. So watching the baby 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Those are days I absolutely do not shoot videos, at least not at this time, because I don't want to be distracted trying to shoot a video while my attention is going at the camera and the baby's running around and I can't pay attention to him, or he's interrupting the video. It's going to make it take 2, 3, 5, 10 times as long just to shoot the video. But I can do a lot of video editing when he's here. I found that out, even though he does like to grab my keyboard or throw things on it and stuff. But, you know, he's got to learn somewhere too. Little personal side note, one of the things he loves to do, because as you know, I'll link to this video down below at how I have my setup for editing videos. I sit on the floor. I sit on the floor to do all this stuff because I'm not one that likes to sit on couches and stuff very often. So because of that, he'll be playing with his toys. He'll crawl over to me. He'll grab hold of me, and then he likes to give grandma hugs and kisses, and I love that. So it's okay if he interrupts my video editing time for me to give him some loves like that. And it's good for both of us. It makes me happy, it makes him happy. And that's another thing. If you're a mom or a grandma and your grandkids and your kids need your attention right then, and you're feeling stressed out like you got to get this done, you'll be better off just letting that go, because what's more important is that child and giving them that attention that they need, to just let them know that you love them and you care. That's more important than finishing that crochet project or sewing project, or even that dinner. Dinner can wait a little longer if it has to. So when it comes to that, it's learning how to prioritize and then rearrange your time accordingly. So in my last video on this, when I was talking about time management, at that time, I was doing a lot of skirt sewing and doing video editing in here next to my sewing machine. Well, I'm not able to do that anymore. And it's not just because I don't have time to do the skirts anymore. It's because of my eyes and my vision. And I cover that in that video about my workstation. So I recommend you watch that so you can just kind of see how I do things and make it work. But I cannot sit close to the computer like that anymore. That I had to change all that up. So it's all very different now. And yet I can still sometimes, a lot of times, edit videos while maybe I'm crocheting, just set my crochet down and work on this, you know, and like I said, watching the baby and certain other things I can do while I'm editing the videos. It's learning how to just switch things up and not feel that you have to keep doing things a certain way all the time. Change it to fit your current situation and whatever's coming up, so that you can still get done the things you really want to get done and really need to get done, but also not being so stressed out. Now, another thing is if you like to have those times in the evening when you're relaxed. For me, when we're in evening, when we're unwinding, I'm not working on videos. I rarely ever get back onto YouTube and try to answer comments. I like to let that just sit until the morning. And what I'll do then is, maybe a lot of times that's also another time where I'll do some of my crocheting. That's also where I'll start packing up seeds to go up on the store. And we can be listening to something, our favorite YouTube channel or whatever, and then while I'm packing up seeds, I can do that while I'm sitting there. And most of the time, it really doesn't stress me out. It's kind of relaxing. But again, if it's one of those things where I feel myself getting stressed out, like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that, I have to learn to set it aside and just breathe and say, if this doesn't get done, it'll be okay, because I need to breathe. This is important. I need to sleep. Yes, I do sleep. Most of the time. I do, like anyone else, I have those nights where I can't sleep, but most of the time I sleep good. And part of it is because I work hard all day, and then by the time it's time for bed, I can just go right to sleep and sleep good for the rest of the night. And then those things that you're able to stay ahead on, that will save you time down the road. So here's another example. This is one of the reasons why most of the videos, just like the one you're seeing right now, by the time you see it, it will have been shot 3 weeks ahead of time. So most of the videos that you see were shot 3 weeks early, so that I can keep staying ahead on something. So if something major comes up and I have to take a whole week off from shooting videos, it's no big deal. I'm fine, because I'm covered. The only videos that I have at this time that come out within a few days of shooting are the Monday this and that videos. So that's where I try to do any kind of garden related updates or anything that's more time sensitive. And then I'll have rare occasions where I have a video that I feel that needs to come out sooner because of the pertinent information in there. Then I'll go ahead and shuffle my videos around so that video can go out sooner, and then push another one out even later if it's not as important. If you have any projects that you can stay ahead on, maybe you're making gifts for various occasions that are coming up. If you can get ahead on those things while you've got the time, then go ahead and do that. Even if it's 8-9 months ahead of time, just go ahead and do that. Then it's set aside so that when other things come up, like you're trying to get through harvest, well, now that you have all this other stuff done, you don't have to worry about that. You can focus on bringing in your harvest and getting it all canned up or dehydrated up or whatever it is you do to preserve your harvest. And you're ahead enough on this other stuff that it's not that big a deal. You don't have to worry about it. And then when you have time again, you can work on getting ahead on that again. That's what I'm always doing with YouTube. Just like when my mom passed away a couple of years ago, I was able to take some time off from YouTube because I was ahead. And then during the week of our youngest son's wedding back in August, I was able to take that whole week off pretty much when family was coming, and just focus on enjoying the family and friends that were here, and then being a part of the wedding and all that was going on there. And I didn't have to worry about YouTube because I was far enough ahead. It was no big deal. And then when I start getting back in the swing of things, I try to shoot an extra video each week and then work on getting that far ahead again like I was before, because that really takes the stress off. So whenever I start to feel myself going, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do that, and then something else just came up, I remember, wait a minute, there's a reason why I'm 3 weeks ahead on my videos, so that I don't have to stress out when this comes up. So remember, just don't sweat the small stuff if you can't get it done. Focus on the important things and finding a way to keep yourself as de-stressed as possible, yet still able to keep plugging along and moving ahead to get yourself in whatever better position you're trying to work towards. Now, I did already mention a little bit on taking some time off, but I want to say this again. Learn to find your downtime, whether it be a specific day of the week or a specific time of the day, every single day. You have to have that downtime to rest. I'm not just talking about sleep. I'm talking about that downtime, whether it be just spending some time in prayer or reading a book or reading God's word or just enjoying some time with like-minded friends and family. And here's one more thing, and I did a video on finding contentment, and it's at least a year or so old now. And thing that was interesting about that is at the time that I said that, I was sharing about how sometimes I would lament over the growth of my channel and how it just seemed like I just slowly growing for years. When I would see somebody come in a year after I started and their channel blew up and surpassed mine, and then somebody came in 2 years after my channel came out, you know, people with similar type content, and their channel blew up, and I'm feeling like, why am I growing so slow? And just understand, I'm a Christian, I'm a very strong Bible believer and believe in the Heavenly Father, and I would really feel the Lord was telling me, in time, things will happen as the timing's right. Be content with the amount of subscribers you have right now. You're doing fine. It's all good. And when it's time for you to really grow, even if it's at a continual steady pace like you're doing, you're going to be just fine. It's going to all work out. And then it wasn't a whole lot long after that that suddenly my channel started to get the boost that I had been waiting for to happen for years. And thank you so much to everyone that's helped in that way, by the way, by sharing our videos and commenting and liking and all these different things that cost no money. They just cost a few extra seconds of your time. Those things have really helped to boost our channel, and we truly appreciate it. But it all needed to happen at the right time. Had that happened a few years ago, I don't know that I would have been able to adjust to the sudden increase in growth with the things that were going on then as I have been able to adjust to it now. So be content with your life the way it is right now, with what you already have stored up in your food storage, and just continue to work on that. Just know that you're doing the best you can with what you have, with the time you have, and be happy and content with that. And if things are supposed to change, just flow with it as need to, and learn to say no to the things you don't need to do and really don't want to do. I mean, obviously there's always going to be things we don't want to do. Like, we don't always enjoy scrubbing the toilet or washing the dishes. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. Or when somebody really needs help, we should be jumping in and helping that person. I'm just talking about when somebody's trying to pressure you into doing extra jobs that you don't want or need to do. Learn to say no, and do not feel guilty about it. And if they try to make you feel guilty, then just say, hey, you know what? Then maybe you should take on this, and this, and then maybe I'll have time to do that. And then see how they react. So anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. And maybe next year I'll need to reboot this video again, and because I've probably made more changes by then, because I'll have another grandbaby by then too. It's due in May. Oh, and if you have any helpful tips and ideas that you would like to put in here to help people with time management, or what you do that really helps keep you kind of on an even keel, go ahead and share those down below, because it really is great to have a full community where it's not just me blabbing away about what I do, because every person's going to be different and they're going to need different ideas to help them personally. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.